This is Vance Stevens in Abu Dhabi, and this is Learning Together. We're recording this in YouTube. There'll be an MP3 from it. We're streaming live on webheadsinAction.org/live, and at the Learning Together wiki we have all kinds of information. And let's see, this is June 30th in 2013. I always like to say the date because I hate to hear webinars recorded that you have no idea when they took place. So it's a little peeve of mine. So anyway, we're kind of connecting communities today. We're talking with Benjamin Stewart, who is in Aguascalientes, Mexico. And let's see, it looks like we've got Maria Colosa in the chat with us, and Mariana Smolcic from Smolcic, I guess, from Croatia. And Marilina Lonigro, I'll bet from Italy. How are you, Marilina? How is your mic?
Fine.
Oh, okay, it's working. That's great.
That's good.
Okay. All right. And, Sadat from Turkey, how are you? Can't hear you. Your mic might be muted. You might want to unmute your mic. It's good to see you there. Try again.
Now can you hear me?
Yes. Gotcha.
Okay. Okay, hello to everyone.
Hey, how are you? So, a nice group of people here. We're also streaming this live, webheadsinAction.org/live. And let's see, Maria just asked Ben a question. Maria, maybe you'd like to ask it again.
Hello, everybody. I'm from Argentina, and my question is always, how did you end up where you are? So I'd like to ask this question to our host today.
Many happy memories myself from, or starting some memories. Some of them were memories. Yeah. Well, maybe we could find out who the people are in the group. If you could just introduce yourselves.
Okay. I'm Maria Colusa. I teach adults from my house here, and I'm very much interested in getting together with teachers all around the world and the connectivity phenomenon that is happening these days. That's why I'm here. And thanks to Vance, I've been learning a lot thanks to all these communities.
Hello, this is Marijana Smolcic from Ogulin, Croatia, and I'm an English teacher in high school for about 13 years now. And just hello to everybody. I'm also a web head for the last 3 years, also thanks to Vance, Teresa, Fernanda, and all other great colleagues online. So, hello.
Hello, I'm Marina, and I'm a teacher of English in Italy, and I teach to students aged 11 to 14 in Italian public school, mid school. And I'm very interested in getting connected with other teachers and sharing my experience and get to know other strategies to teach my students. And well, I would like to take the occasion as we have, I can't remember her name as much, because today I think it's a very important day in Croatia because Croatia is now part of the European Union. And today there is our President of the Republic is meeting your President of the Republic in Zagreb. Best wishes for this, for your joining the European Union.
Thank you, thank you. Yes, tomorrow or actually today there is a lot of celebrations coming in all parts of Croatia. Thank you so much.
Okay, and Sedat?
Hello again. I'm from Turkey. I'm teaching as an assistant professor at the Department of English Language Teaching in Bolu. I completed my MA and PhD dissertations on computer-assisted language learning, and I'm a member of WebPads since 2004, 2005, and I have been attending many events organized by WebPads, and I'm very happy to be here. And that's all. I'm working with pre-service of English, and that's all for me.
Yes, Sadat and I have had lots of collaborations. We've collaborated on published articles. I met him in a conference in Ankara, and we used to have some very interesting collaborations with students, which we've put online. Maybe if I get a moment, I can pull up some links and show some archives from that stuff. Okay, and one question for Marilina. Are you coming to us through the Webheads community or through the recent MOOC that we featured last week? What is your connection? Maybe you're looking the wrong. Oh, okay, never mind that. Okay, well, Benjamin, let's find out something about you and the TIL community. Teachers interacting. Oh, you can tell us what it means and about your community, because Benjamin, actually last week when we had our Learning Together event, it followed. We could have done them together almost. He had a TIL event, but I couldn't join it because I had to set up for the Webheads one. So I got in touch with him and said, you know, if we're going to do these about the same time, maybe we could join forces a little bit. And so that's why we're joining forces today. So tell us about your communities and what you're doing online. Okay, I'd like to welcome Nina, who's joined us from Maryland, and Nina Liekos, good friend of ours, longtime web head. And also I put a link in the text chat. I think that goes to the Till Google Plus community. And I'll put one for the Canvas. I think I've got it here. But I tried getting onto Canvas the other day, and it didn't seem to be going for me very well. I'm not sure why. Oh, I know that link was at the WizIQ. You had it at the WizIQ talk. I'll see if I can find it. But other than that, that's all I wanted to say at the moment. But please, as Benjamin says, if anybody wants to say anything, just whistle into the mic or wave your hand or something like that and get attention, and he'll stop. He moderates his own. He has his own. He's a great host. I've attended some of his sessions already. Okay, go ahead.
I haven't used it, but I teach at the University of Maryland, and they just switched from Blackboard to Canvas. I hated Blackboard, and I have so far avoided Canvas. It's been up and operational for 1 or 2 semesters, but I usually cobble together open source stuff rather than use it. That could be my mistake.
And this link doesn't. It takes us to a login page. Here's the one you've got in your WizIQ. At WizIQ, I'll paste it in the chat. Let's see if it's any better. There we go. That one. That's a different link. Is that the one that should take us to your course? Nina Liakos had to pop out of the hangout, but she's listening on the stream, and she's listening for how I pronounce her name, Nina Liakos. And let's see, she's coordinating the Electronic Village online sessions this year. That's eviosessions.pbworks.com. And sounds like the way you're teaching your class, if you really want to overwork yourself for a couple of months but really enjoy it, that's kind of a nice thing to get into. I'll put the link there. In fact, they're taking proposals right now, so I'll see if I can. I don't know. Have you seen the call for participation or call for papers? I guess call for sessions. Have you seen that? Has it come your way?
No.
The call. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm doing it right now. Uh-huh. Yeah. Well, anyway, it looks like your style of blended teaching and learning is would be really conducive to that kind of thing. And I find it also hones my style of teaching. I was listening to Stephen Downes's presentation in Venezuela, which I just came across. I'm not sure when he gave it, but I think it's pretty recent. But he was talking about the theory behind his MOOCs and kind of about the way students construct courses and the way that the content is. He said he talked about some things that are essential. Sorry, that are necessary but not essential. For example, he said goods and services are necessary to an economy but not essential. It's not the essential but not necessary. Well, anyway, but that he built a lot of points about that. But he said that that content was not it was necessary but not, or maybe I should say I can't remember which. I'm getting confused now. But anyway, but basically his point was that in a course, content is not the most important part of it. The most important part is how people move the content around. And so when you set up a course, you're not directing the content top down. Some teachers do try to do that, but what you're doing is you're creating, especially in a blended environment, you can create a course where the content, the way it's moved around by the students in the network, that's the essence of the course. So I thought that was a really nice point that he made in this talk. Maybe I can find it and put a link in the chat. And also, while I got the mic, I'd like to say hi to David Wexler, somebody I've met a couple of times, usually in conjunction with TESOL conferences. And hi, Dave. If you want to say hi to us, if your mic is working, feel free. Okay, he's going to get a mic and a headset, and so go ahead, Benjamin. There are a couple of questions in the Etherpad. Mariana is asking if Canvas is free, and then and answer that, and I'll read you Nina's questions. Okay, I'd like to say hi to Scott Lockman, known in his rapper days as Scott Lowe, and maybe we'll get to see him and hear him in a minute. He used to do Tokyo Calling podcast. But now I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's in Saudi Arabia. But anyway, let me read you Nina Liakos's other question. She says, it looks easier, Canvas looks easier and less complicated than Moodle. That has a question mark after it. Easier and less complicated. And Nina was on me a moment ago for mispronouncing her last name, Liakos, and now she's noticing that that was not her question, that was Mariana's question. So I'm being corrected all over the place here.
It's okay,
Scott?
Vance.
Oh, you're back. Okay, good. Glad to see you again. I'm not sure. Yeah, yes. You can ask your questions in the. Marilena noted in the text chat over here that Moodle, it was hell to set up a wiki, she said. And I agree, Moodle's wikis are awful. So what I usually do when I need a wiki is in fact, for a lot of components that Moodle doesn't have, I sort of blend. If I'm using Moodle, and I am using it now actually, I've basically set up another wiki course outside of Moodle. I do this when I'm using Blackboard or anything else because I generally just kind of end up in my own little wiki and have the students go there. And so there are links to that from the Moodle. But, you know, it's good to be able to blend, take that approach, you know, instead of relying just on Moodle tools.
Yeah, I used to use Blackboard for my grade book, and I would use either a wiki or a blog. What I didn't like about the university's LMS is that I believe that any blogs and wikis that were created were, they basically died with the course after, I don't know, 30 days or one semester. The students, who knows, you know, maybe the students never visit these things after the course is over, but I like to think that they would if they could. So that's one of the reasons that I tend to stay away from the university's LMS when I'm teaching in the intensive English program. I don't think it's really necessary. I use it if I'm teaching a semi-intensive class and the students are used to using it for their other classes. But there are other teachers in my IEP that are using Canvas, and I haven't heard them say anything negative about it. Certainly, I'm just this crotchety old lady that doesn't want to do something new. Oh yeah, me too. I'm really interested in that. Actually, last semester was my first time using digital online writing portfolios, and I didn't know what kind of platform to use. I ended up using Blogger, but I was wondering if I had been using my Canvas course space, if there would be a way for the students to collect their writing in Canvas. And from what you just said, I'm going to say I guess not, because you're putting the files outside of the LMS. But then again, that could be a problem if it goes away, because our portfolios are supposed to be kept for 3 years. It's one of the reasons why the IEP administration has been slow to go to online portfolios, because they wanted to have paper portfolios in their files for 3 years. God knows why. So my experience with students creating blogs is that they never bother to take them offline. You know, and if you had a student or two that actually did delete their blog or whatever, wherever their portfolio was, that you would still have most of your portfolios to serve as examples. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. Really? A writing portfolio? How would you do that? Uh-huh. Mhm. The way I did it with Blogger was to use pages. The students had to select some process writing, and they had to show different drafts, and then they had to do some online. Sorry, not online. Some timed in-class writing. So the process writing was fine. We just copied from the Word document into the blog page, including one assignment where they were describing a painting in a museum, and they had taken photographs of the paintings, and they pasted those in. That worked great. What was a problem was the online writing that I had to scan, and somehow when I scanned it, it came into the blog upside down or too small, or I haven't solved that problem. But I was able, I mean, except for that problem, it really worked very well, because when the evaluator went to look at the portfolio, it opened up on the main page in which there was one post, and that post was the reflective piece, what I've learned about writing this semester and what I have still to learn. And then the different pages, like the one page would be process writing 1, then another page would be process writing 2, and all of the drafts and pre-writing and stuff would be on that page. And then in-class writing 1 and in-class writing 2. So since you can have up to 10 pages on a blog and Blogger, that worked really well. The only issue I had was the uploading of the scanned documents. I might try this in WordPress this semester, so I'm going to see if that works better. Or I might investigate some of these sites that are actually meant to be portfolios.
We had a number of questions in the text chat. I wonder if people who've got microphones could ask those questions. Marilena, for example, has a question that's the last one posted. Maybe if you could ask your questions on the microphone, that would be nice.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Okay, fine, because it says my mic is muted, but okay. Anyway, yes, my question is it possible to enroll students without using their emails? I mean, can the teacher set the accounts without using the email using maybe saying a fake email or an example email or something like that, because this is important for my students, because you see they are quite young and I'm not allowed to use their emails. And I used the question. Yeah. Yeah, because I had a look and it asked for emails. It gives different options, but it is always something with an email that has to follow. I don't know if I can use like first name, second name, then example email, and that is fine. Or because I can do that in Moodle. I know for sure that in Moodle that is possible. I don't know if it is possible in Canvas. I will drop a question and see if they've got facts that answer this question. Okay, thanks. And then I just wanted to point out that, well, it is right what Vance was saying, that you can use a wiki outside the Moodle. That's fine, but I mean, my students, perhaps they're too young, and they get very confused with the passwords. They keep losing their passwords, so I have to keep track of passwords for all the students, and this makes it really difficult also for me. You can imagine, I've got sometimes like 60 students in a project, so I cannot keep track of all the passwords for all the sites, so it would be very nice if they can work. Well, Canvas I like because they can use for collaboration instead of using wikis. They can use like a Google Doc, and they can all log in from here. And they do not need to have another account on Google Docs or another account on a wiki and so on, because that makes it very, very confusing for them. Then if anyone else has got the same problem, because I understand that most of you work in higher education, like universities.
So does anyone have anything to add? I know from my personal experience this past semester with the academic writing course, I used the wiki in Moodle, and it worked okay. It was, but I would see that maybe for younger learners that would be a definite option, just so that they don't have to create another email address or create another account outside of Moodle. But yeah, the wiki in Moodle is a bit limited. So
Scott Lockman made a point earlier that he thought it would be an excellent idea if you gave an EVO session on Canvas. I just thought I'd throw that in. Somebody else's, many voices are calling Scott, Benjamin, you know.
I wonder, though, I mean, I don't know, how open is this platform? My assumption is that, maybe I'm just wrong about this, there's no free way to get into it. So if you were doing an EVO session on Canvas, everybody would have to have access to Canvas. Is there a whole free section that's separate from like what my university subscribes to? Maybe I missed that.
Yes, Nina, I was commenting before that the account that I have is not affiliated with the university. It's basically I just went to the website and created my own account. So okay. It is free. It's completely free and open. So the course, and that's one of the reasons, in fact, that I wanted to use this, because I wanted to at least have the potential or the possibility of having my students that I meet face-to-face to interact with potentially other students outside of their class. So my courses are all going to be open in the sense that anyone can basically access them, and if they decide that they want to participate, they can create an account, sign in, and interact. And I didn't mention this before, but just like in Moodle, Canvas you can set up groups. So I will have credit-seeking students as one group in all of my courses, and then I'll have a kind of a public group that will be everyone else. So then there are some content or some things, some pages and files that you can share just amongst your, in my case, face-to-face students that I don't want to share publicly. And so you still then have some flexibility in how much of the content of the course is made public and how much is just seen by the students that I'm teaching in my case.
Okay, so that sounds great. And as the lead EVO coordinator, I'd like to join with Vance in suggesting that you think about doing a session, and I'm going to put a call for participation up right here. And anybody else that's here that's interested, please jump in.
Excellent.
We'd love to have you. I don't know why it's got such an incredibly complicated link. Shouldn't be that. No, that's wrong. I'll get you the correct link in a second.
Scott, we heard you a moment.
That's quite a URL, Nina.
No, that's not the URL. That's not.
Did you write
URL.
that with a potato, as the kids like to say?
This is the URL. The purple one is the URL. That was copy link address off of a Google Drive link. So don't attempt that at home. But the evosessions.pbworks.com is where you will find the call for participation.
Nina, did you upload the link? Because I don't see it in the chat.
It's just evosessions.pbworks.com. Very easy.
Great. Okay, any other questions? Or it looks like we're getting close to an hour here, but I'm not sure if there are any other additional questions, or if anyone wants to see briefly the online course that I'm taking. This is the other side of Canvas for learners. I'll just show it real quick. I'll just take a second.
Yeah, please do.
And so you'll notice, hopefully you can see my screen. You'll notice now that we're in Canvas Network, so you can contrast this to this site, which is just Canvas. So this is what the teachers see when they create their own courses. When you actually take a course, which is what I'm doing now, you enter Canvas Network, and that is learn.canvas.net. And you basically have the same options as you would as a teacher, but you know, this is the content, and again gives you kind of an idea about how to navigate throughout the course. And it's been a really good course so far. There's been a lot of interactions. If you go into discussions, as I mentioned before, I think one of the things that they could improve upon in Canvas is how you navigate discussions. What I would like to see is when someone makes a comment to one of my posts that you are prompted, you have some way of knowing or a link that would take you directly to that, because as you see here, there are quite a few discussions going on. And so you'll notice that there's a little blue dot that then disappears, and this is to indicate those new posts. When you hover over, then supposedly you have read the discussion. So it's kind of, you know, I think they could do some improvements here, but it works okay. What I typically do is I toggle back and forth between the collapsed view and the expanded view. So as you see here, you can kind of jump down to your own posts, and you'll notice on the right hand side you have a blue box that indicates new posts, and or how many responses, I should say, how many replies. And on the right hand side, what is it? I forget now. Maybe it's, well, you know, I don't know. But anyway, this is you know, another way that you can kind of toggle back and forth between posts. So again, one of the things I do like about Canvas, as a learner and as an educator, is the different ways that you can view the content. So it's not just about modules, as I mentioned before, as you would be accustomed to in a Moodle website, but you can also jump to the actual discussions and view all the discussions and view all the quizzes and view all of the assignments in one central location. And again, as I mentioned before, you see here that this is what I've completed. And when you see a little check mark here, this is what has been completed, and this is what still needs to be completed. And this is going into next week. So just kind of an overview of what it looks like, both as from a learner standpoint, looking at Canvas Network, versus looking at it from an educator standpoint as you create these different courses in Canvas. But they're both part of the same company, which is called Instructure, Instructure.com. So that's basically, I think, all we're going to have time for. I don't know if there are any final questions as we wrap up.
I'm looking at Mariana's posts to hashtag Learning Together, and she's got a really nice picture from the start of the event, and it looks nice. I'll put the link to the search in there. And well, Scott, what are you up to these days?
Yeah. Hello.
You can see there.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Benjamin, thank you for sharing. And I was interested in your discussion with Nina before about the openness of this. For me, this is very timely. I've just noticed a couple of the people that I follow on Twitter talking about taking this Canvas course, which is perhaps what you're talking about, learning how to use it, and various frustrations as well as excitement about the possibilities. So you've certainly whet my appetite for this. I'm curious, and I think all of us should just dive in and answer these questions ourselves, but when you say that it's open, does this mean that if perhaps I'm a student and I do a bit of work as an assignment that is text or image or whatever, can I get a URL or something to embed and put on my blog? Or for somebody to see my work, must they log into the Canvas system to see it? Does that make sense, the question? And
Yeah, it's to my knowledge, and again, this is kind of I'm just getting started in Moodle and in Canvas. To my understanding, you do need to create an account to be able to view all of the content. So even though, yeah, we can look at the different levels of openness. So I wouldn't say that it's completely open in the sense that all content is available to everyone at all times. I do think you need to create a link. And I know for instance, the online course that I'm taking, they closed the enrollment. So basically no one now can enter into the course. The courses that I'm offering, basically I'm going to leave the enrollment open. So at any point someone could go into the site and create an account and enroll in the course and then view all of the content. So because my students are credit-seeking students, they're all face-to-face. I teach at a university, so for me, I think I think it'll work for me as far as if someone wants to view the information, they would have to sign in and create an account. It's a little bit different than the courses that I've had in the past where I've used a wiki like Wiki Educator or Wiki Spaces, where basically everything that they do, whether it's a writing assignment, it's completely open, everyone sees that. And certainly there's value in that as well. And as we've been talking about the last hour here, there are ways to incorporate outside technologies and bring those into the learning management system. So if those assignments, if you as an educator felt that having that content or those activities that the students participate being open, you certainly could draw on outside tools and bring those in so that they would in fact be open. So I think there's a lot of flexibility in how you kind of design the course using the LMS, in this case Canvas, and just as you would in Moodle, to how you want to bring it into the open spaces and to make it accessible to as many or as to few people as you wish, just depending on the context and the learners and your goals as a teacher.
Indeed, and not everything necessarily ought to be open,
right.
or not being open is not a pejorative descriptor either. There are
exactly.
different cases, but I was really intrigued with what Nina was saying with the idea of the durability or the persistence of student work. Should they be able to take it with them? And the idea of e-portfolio is one. There's another one I'm very excited about, and I'm slightly involved with it as just a community member, not in any administrative sense, but what they're doing at University of Mary Washington in Virginia, where they give every student a domain, and this web hosted domain stays with them throughout their university career, and students are blogging, and then the technical support that they have at the university is able to do that aggregation you were talking about. So you look up UMW blogs to get just an introduction to that, and it's pretty cool.
I would love to see that. I don't know if there's a link that you can provide, or later if I could get that information. Certainly, I would be interested in looking at that.
Well, that ties into the DS 106 as well that I've talked about before, where it's all open online digital storytelling. But yeah, I'll track down a link.
Yeah, I've heard Jim Groom's course, right? And I've heard him talk about that. There's some pretty fascinating stuff. I've got some links. I was listening to a podcast of him talking about how he set up that. I think it might have been on Teachers Teaching Teachers. I'm not really sure. Anyway,
but did he set up domains in the DS course?
Well, the domains is. I just put the link down there for you. That's what University of Mary Washington is doing starting this September. Every student will get a domain. With the DS 106 course, in the past, students had to purchase a domain, but now the registered students at the campus actually have their domains that they use for their digital storytelling projects in the class. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
And then Jim Groom's whole point is he's thinking in terms of this infrastructure and use of the web, that we try to equip the students with developing an online persona, an online presence that persists beyond university. So it's kind of real-life skills for the days ahead.
Do you know and this is slightly off topic, but what I'd be interested in the policy making going behind that, the administrative work behind that from a university standpoint, what that involved to get that to materialize as far as getting students their own domains. But that's another topic, and maybe we can, I'd be interested in knowing more from the administrative standpoint, thinking in terms of the university and what their policy is on that. But yeah,
it's a topic for later discussion, perhaps.
That's Jim Groom's pushing that, making it work, and then getting the university to accept that. And I think Dave Cormier sounds a lot like that in the things that he tries to do in his courses when he talks about the courses he teaches students. I'm not sure if he's having what impact he's having on policy at Prince Edward Island, but anyway, he's
right into e-portfolios. I mean, if each student had their own domain, they could basically really there'd be more flexibility, I would think, in setting up their own digital identity, as it were.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what Jim has at UMW is just an IT department and an administration that's very progressive and forward-thinking.
Exactly.
And seeing the role of the university in the future, they're a small liberal arts college. It's not a research school. And it's their students and their faculty that are going to make a name for the school or not. So why not have the students' work and the faculty's work, the courses, public? I mean, that's as good a brochure as anything.
Absolutely.
Think of the old websites with pictures of students walking in the quad. That's not the real university. What are students making? What are they doing? So,
and the opposite of Ryerson University, let's say, where they, almost expelled somebody for starting a Facebook group, study group. And, the attitudes, is so important, and how to make things open. In fact, Stephen Downs, I just discovered that talk was 2 days ago, the one in Caracas. But anyway, he's talking also about, well, CMOOCs and the openness. That's a very important concept in, and what Coursera. I mean, it comes up in the course in the literature on MOOCs quite a lot. The fact that the XMOOCs are not open, really, and that you really need that. So that's a big issue in MOOCs and in, well, obviously in e-portfolios and in these LMS systems, is how open can they be, and how much can the student, like what Nina is doing. She could create an open system for her students' e-portfolios and then have them submit hard copies to meet the requirement of the university that they keep the hard copy on hand for 3 years. But I mean, you have to work with this, with the mindsets. But the one that's going to emerge will be open, I think. That might have been a conversation stopper. I'm not sure.
Thought provoker.
Yeah, everyone's thinking about that.
Yeah.
And just while I've got everybody's attention, if you don't mind, I just threw one more link in the chat. It's another kind of ugly link, but it's for a forum. I don't know if anybody knows Barbara Sawhill. She's a language person in Ohio, language lab and language teacher person. And she's been inspired by the DS-106. And we started freewheeling on this last year, and now it's just coming to fruition. She wants to create a language bank based on the DS-106 model. I mean, an assignment bank of language learning activities. So that link is to a form, and I don't want to try to explain too much right now because people might be bored or not interested, but I think it's a fascinating idea, and she would like to use assignments that get submitted through this form in a class she's teaching this September. So this might be a future topic discussion if anybody's interested in it. We can get Barbara on, or I can speak for her because it's kind of tied into DS-106.
Yeah, let's do it in September. Let's come back and have a Learning Together session on it.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, I guess we'll end there. I want to thank everyone for attending. Certainly it's been a pleasure sharing and discussing these topics with you, and hopefully we'll have an opportunity to talk about other things as well in the future. So, Vance, I don't know if you have any other closing comments as we wrap it up.
Well, I guess Jeff Lee Bro calls this an outro. Someone always does the outro, and this is Learning Together, one of our weekly Learning Together sessions. We've been going since 2010 in this format, and we've been talking to Benjamin Stewart in Mexico and about some of the very interesting course development he's been doing and experimenting with. And it's June 30th, 2013. And this is Vance Stevens in Abu Dhabi saying goodnight to Dave Wexler, who's not there really, but anyway, and Maria Colusa, and Marilena Lonegro, who's still with us, and Scott Lockman, of course, and Sadat. Good night to you. Glad you could join us. And Nina Liakos, of course, was here earlier. And so it's so nice to see everybody and get together and have these discussions. Appreciate your coming. And one more thing, as soon as we stop the discussion, the broadcast will be on YouTube, and I'll make from that an MP3 recording, and I put those at our podcast site at learningtogether.net, which I'll stick in the text chat. Okay, and I always tweet. I put the information, the links that we have up at, I put them on Twitter and things like that. So you can search for Learning Together in the Twitter hashtag feed. You can find the links to everything that we do. But anyway, you'll be able to hear the MP3 audio or play the video embed from webheadsinAction.org/live or from learningtogether.net. eventually. So
Great.
thanks again.
All right, thanks everybody.